a meeting 2 days before every game as a defensive staff, talking about playing the players, how we're going to play them. Didn't get as many snaps because we had 5 3 and outs. So some of the guys' series, they were going in on this certain series. Well, they happened to play really well and got 3 and out. So some of the reps weren't as high as we would want. We only played 55 snaps on the game. But the initial plan that we went in with, we executed really well, and the guys got to play and spell each other, and even came in after the game, commented on how much that helped him, us sticking to that plan and having guys come in and spell it.
Was he saying that he felt more freshmen?
He did. And I think that was a universal theme. We built a lot of trust amongst the group and amongst the position players, so they know that if they're coming out, there's a really good player that's coming in for them too. So that helps build confidence and cheering for the teammates and all that kind of stuff.
As Javari, go ahead.
You mentioned the 5 3 and outs. Like, just in terms of some of the stat numbers,
Sure.
5 sacks, I think you held them 78 yards rushing. Were those the things you were most pleased with? Like, what were the stat numbers that really stood out to you as far as we did that well, we did this well?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knew going into the game that was a great rushing offense, and they want to run the football. And I think us being able to hold that rushing offense under 100 yards was a really good deal. We always want to create sacks, we always create tackles for loss. The things that I spent a lot of time on yesterday in the unit meeting were the things we have to improve on. Situational football, I thought there were some situations that we didn't, play as well, and I didn't coach as well as we need to, so we made a big deal about those. The tackling, I think probably 40% of their yards were after missed tackles. We gave up 6 explosive plays, maybe 7. All but one should have been less than a 5-yard gain. So we went and made sure, and it wasn't demeaning. It was just like, hey, we have a high standard. We have really good players. We got to make sure we're tackling in space at a high level. There were a couple of times that I love that we're going after the football. I love that we're trying to create turnovers, but make the tackle first. And then, like in the last 2-minute drive, we had some guys that were going for the ball instead of just securing the tackle, getting him down, let the clock run. So we spent a lot of time on that situational piece yesterday. There were some really good highlight plays, and we did obviously show those. But the biggest thing, and this is from Coach Brown too, is be very self-critical and make sure we're addressing the things so as we move forward, we keep getting better and better. But love the way the guys played, love their energy, the way they flew around, played with great effort, swarmed to the football, and then on the sidelines, they were unbelievably coachable. Communicated well. We were using the iPads, which is a new thing for me, and just the engagement, even with the guys that might only play 10 to 14 snaps, they were just as invested and just as engaged the entire time on the sideline too, which was nice.
When you think about what you saw on film from Javari when you first got here,
Yep.
and then what you saw back early in spring, what's the difference between that guy and the player we saw the other night?
Yeah, I thought he put on a show Thursday night. He's got tremendous ability. He's a tremendous young man, and I was so happy for him that the production matched how awesome I know that he is, right? And I'm wearing my little probably Ritzy shirt today, a little J5 for him. He had a heck of a day. Universally loved on the entire team, and was just really proud that the production matched his work ethic and matched his ability, and that's a cool thing. Now the challenge is, let's do it again, and then let's do it again, and that kind of progression will be awesome for him.
Did you see something along these lines coming throughout camp?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he had a really good spring. I thought he had a really good preseason camp, and he made the plays that he was supposed to make. And the one in the fourth quarter, the sack where he ran the kid down. There's not many 300-pound men that can make that play. Yeah. But Javari is just, has special ability, high character, plays really hard. So I think just the work that he's just consistently put in with Coach Monachino showed up and paid off for him on Thursday night.
How about Amari playing with the club?
Yeah, the turnover he caused was huge, and I thought it didn't limit him at all. He was taking on blocks, he was being physical. I thought he added a really nice presence to the defense, making the calls, getting us lined up, making all the checks, and then playing at a high level as well. So internally, the two awards we give on defense, Ritzy got one of them and Amari got the other one. And was really proud of his performance. Played like an older guy, which is it didn't seem like it was his, whatever it was, second, third, or fourth game that he's played in. And I was really proud of just his poise, composure, and then just his relentless nature throughout the night.
Geoff, what was the teaching point for you with Caleb Valley, the missed tackle on third and 19?
Yep.
Obviously, kind of stood out. Like, what have you?
Well, just the biggest thing is Caleb is a tremendous athlete, tremendous young man, and just knowing the situation, know where his help is. He could have easily just played with the proper leverage, sent it back to the other 10 guys on the team, and instead he ended up on the wrong shoulder of the tackle and reached and missed. Instead of just making it easy for yourself, using all your other buddies, set the thing with leverage, and make an easy play. Right? And we talk all the time, play ball, don't work ball. So play football, don't work at it, just use your leverage, get in a better position, take better angles, and you'll make that play. So.
What'd you see out of Travis Shaw? He came in as a stud 5-star last
Sure.
year's recruitment. This is obviously a big year for him.
Yep.
What'd you see out of him in game one?
So I think he played 22 snaps, which I think is increased from maybe times in the past. But I thought he played at a really high level. I was very impressed because you guys all have gotten to know Travis. Big personality, fun-loving, loved to be around him. But I was so impressed with him on the sidelines and in the game, how composed he was, what a great teammate he was on the sidelines and in game, how engaged he was the entire time. And then when he got out there and got his reps, made some really good plays for us. And the thing that kind of goes unnoticed up front is, everybody sees Power and Amari making on Jakeem Harris, making all these plays, but it is the Travis Shaws, Jabari Ritzies, Josh Harris's, Kevin Hester's. They're the ones that really make the magic happen. And if you just watch the way those four defended the run the entire night, it was impressive. There were some clips that were clinic tape on how to play defensive tackle in big-time college football games, and those were really good players they were playing against. And that offensive line, I don't think there's a huge argument that they're one of the top 10 offensive lines in the country. And our guys sat there and defended it, and they fit it, and they used great technique and leverage. And Travis Shaw, obviously, is one of the key components to that, too.
How have you seen him grow when you arrived through training camp, through the summer through training camp?
Well, I think just
have you seen growth?
So the maturity level, the growth who he is as a young man, his work ethic, and you can just you look at the growth, how much he's lost weight has been impressive. He's lost, I think, 44 pounds since January, and that is a conscious decision to make a marked improvement in your own personal development that he's worked with our nutrition staff, Amber and Izzy, and has done a tremendous job taking all of their expertise and guidance and applied it, and I think that has carried over into every phase of his life, and he's a blast to coach. He is just personality and work ethic and all those things. He's fun to be around.
I'm sure the Charlotte Scout is still in the early stages, but I think their top two receivers from their first game were 6'5" and 6'4".
Sure.
I guess what kind of challenges are presented by those bigger body receivers?
Yeah, well, and the tight ends too. The two tight ends are a huge part of their passing game. They go 12 personnel, they go 13 personnel, a lot like Minnesota did to us. So they a lot of formations, a lot of eye candy. They get the matchups that they want by formations, by shifts, by motions, and they've got really good players. And there's a noticeable size on the edges and when the tight ends are out there running routes too. So we have to know who they are, what they're trying to do in every formation they try to get us into.
What are some of the teaching points on Marcus's two pass interferences?
Just play with boys. I thought he had a tremendous camp. When the NFL scouts come through, along with the seniors, they always mention Marcus, and he had a tremendous camp. And just playing things with poise like he did throughout the entire camp, maintaining a leverage so that you can play ball, not work ball. So that's a big thing. Just watching those two plays, just stay in phase with the receiver, have the confidence, because Marcus is a big time player, have the confidence, you're in phase, go ahead and look back, and those things probably wouldn't have been called. So we worked on that yesterday again, and addressed it. So Marcus is really good.
Just
Just out of
a couple
curiosity, what do
of,
you have on your hand like there? It looks like X's and O's. You're not gonna tell.
they're little notes, just reminders. So, and some maybe a blitz or two thought up in the staff meeting. So I'll try to hide my hand a
Good
little
tell
better.
if they're tattoos or they're actually.
It's not tattoos.
you guys had a couple of instances on Thursday where you guys had it was Atkinson, Rucker, and Evans like all in at the same time.
Yep.
I know that's something you guys had talked about a little bit, worked on. What about that grouping up front do you like putting it up there?
Well, they're three great players, and just trying to find ways. And then mostly it was passing situations, getting them in the game, and just the things that they can do out of 3 down and out of 4 down are really good. And I think we're just scratching the surface with what that group can do. In pass rush situations, and there was a couple of times that Bo was in there and had to defend the run as well, and he did a great job with that also.
That's maybe great minds, I don't know. That was
Right.
gonna ask you the same thing.
Yeah.
What's the name for that package?
There's a couple. One of them's a psycho package, and the other one is just our 3rd down rushers, whatever.
And you got them all standing up, I guess, right? If I saw it right.
They do. They stand up. They put their hand down, and just you guys have been around me. There's a lot of freedom that we give them within the scheme to make sure you're in the best physical position to execute what you have to execute. And the guys take that, and if there's any refinements that we need to do, we do. We just want them to play free, play fast, fly around, have fun while they're doing it, but still have an edge to every single thing that they do. And as long as they keep doing that, which they did Thursday night, we can just keep building on it and keep growing on it. So
How did the communication with the earpiece go?
it was good. It was good. It was, we had 0 issues. It helped us a lot. We're still having to use the full gamut of our signal mechanisms, the boards and the wristbands and multiple signals for calls. We're still doing that. But the headset communication was awesome. And the backers echoing the calls to the D-line, so we were able to convey some key information before the snap to help them play at a high level. So
Some of the guys said during camp that you guys were messing around with some of the safeties having it. Stick
We
said
did.
that he even had it. You went solely with power.
Yep.
Are you going to mix it up, or is it pretty much going to be power moving
right
forward?
now, it'll be power until we need to change it or have a reason to change it. Because he can communicate to the front, he can communicate to the back end. So it's been good.
So if he goes out, there's another helmet.
There's another helmet. Yep.
For
Probably Caleb Valley or whoever is ready to.
So it'll probably stay at linebacker.
Yes, for right now. Yep. And everything is subject to change as needed. So,
Okay, so
but it was great.
It's a lot of power.
what did it sound like? Safety.
Jeff, I got a question about Dez. A lot of people look at stats and say, well, he doesn't have any stats in a particular game. What did you see out of him Thursday?
Des Evans
Yes,
was amazing.
that's what I.
He was just a complete destruction of what they were trying to do. There's a couple times that he's the one, Des Evans was the one that forced the tackle for loss, or he was the one that forced the sack, or he was the one that made them check to run away from him. I thought Des played really well. And I know people want to talk about production and the stat lines, and Ritzy's very well deserved, right? He had production, he had stat lines, but what Des Evans did, what Bo Atkinson did, the other internal guys along the defensive line, they were ones that were making plays based on the nature of what we do. Other guys make plays. And so I thought Des played great.
Staying on Des real fast to piggyback on that. How much of that was him just occupying so much of their attention?
100%. And the things that we were doing with him, based on what his skill set, he could just wreck the game. And a lot of times him wrecking the game means he's going to be eating up 2, sometimes 3 blocks, so that somebody else is coming untouched to make like the first tackle for loss we had. That was Des Evans. He didn't make the tackle for loss, but he forced that ball to bounce 3 gaps wider so somebody could run it down going sideways. But it was Des Evans that made that play happen.
Do you have a Des Evans t-shirt too?
I do have one. I do have one.
You guys good? Good.
You're gonna get that one next week?
It depends on who's the player of the game.
Play of the game, there you go.
Can we get a photo of the Ritzy?
I don't know if that's fine.
Everything's legal now.